Ladies and gentlemen, I'm backstage, Hex Fight Series 27, with the most hated man in the venue, the eternal MMA featherweight champion, Justin Van Heerden at Hex. You just finished your grappling sub-only match with the UFC veteran George Soteropoulos, and you picked up a draw. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's a sub-only match, but I know going into it, we were told it's going to be judged on. If there's no submission, it's going to be judged on who's more aggressive. But, hey man, I don't know how jiu-jitsu works. I don't know how the scoring works, but I know I got a takedown. So, in the world of wrestling, where I'm from, I win.
Was it a bit of fun though?
Yeah, it was heaps fun. It was heaps fun. George and I were having a good time in there. We were up against occasion. I was asking him. I was like, you know, is it weird that we're not punching each other in the face? Because it feels fucking weird for me. But no, it was cool. I was having fun in there, man. Spotting some people in the crowd, winking at commentators, you know, just doing me, so, yeah.
Have you always grown up idolising George Soteropoulos? Was it nice to be in there with him?
Well, moving to Australia, when I first started getting into sort of following MMA and stuff like that and, you know, watching the sport, obviously he was sort of one of the people that were, you know, flying the flag pretty early, along with Anthony Perosh, guys like that. So, yeah, that's what I was saying to Joe. It's surreal to me that I got to sort of grapple and you do something competitive with someone like George, so it's wicked, man. I can't complain. It's a fun thing, you know. Get flown down here, come to Melbourne, get to grapple a sort of veteran of MMA, veteran of the UFC, and just do my thing, bro, you know. New school, old school, the whole mess.
And now, have you enjoyed Hex Fight Series? Is that maybe somewhere you might want to fight in the future?
They treat me very nicely down here at Hex. I will say, maybe the crowd, I'm not like a favourite in the crowd, and if you're wearing like a certain attire, I'm probably not your best. You're not my biggest fan, but no, the people who treat me well.
Yeah, some of them are not, let's say, absolutely on your side.
Yes.
Now, there are about 15 absolute MMA guys here. Kaan Ofli, your friend, is here. Have you guys run into each other?
Oh, he came and sat down at a table when I was sort of getting ready to grapple, so you know, I gave him a little nod, a little wave. It's cool to see him walking around, so hope obviously his injury isn't as bad as what's first forecast, I guess, because, you know, we're up there, you know, we're up there. It's like there's a handful of guys that are up the top of sort of, you know, top level of Australian MMA, and so, you know, it sucks to see anyone sort of get injured and kind of get put on the sideline, regardless of, you know, the situation. I don't want to see anyone be hurt, so I'm hoping he's all good, but no, it's been cool, man. Jacob and everyone down at Hex has been really nice. Everyone's been accommodating, and, you know, they're looking after me. They're looking after the champ.
Now, in the Hex Fight Series press conference, Abdalla, Biayda and Sem Kakembo had some choice words for you, where they said you were not particularly going to be the harder matchup out of the guys mentioned. Thoughts on that?
I mean, it's cool, man. That's what I want. That's what kind of, you know, I've said this to you before. I kind of carry that chip on my shoulder, like, when I go into these fights. You know, I'm always the underdog going into these fights. And the last 5 guys, you know, they've overlooked me. They've said those same things, and they all went out the same way. So, you know, for Sem though, it's kind of cool though. He was a bit more respectful because, I mean, obviously he thinks I'm an easy fight, but, you know, he's a bit more respectful. Like, you know, he's willing to be game enough to get in there with me. Abdalla, not so much. I think he knows that I'm not one of the little guys in the division. So, you know, I've seen he's in the same corner as me out the back. I think they moved him because I might have made him uncomfortable. I don't know, but I think he realizes I'm not small. You know, I'm a big featherweight, so I wouldn't want to fight me neither. That's all I have to say. I wouldn't want to fight me either.
Now, look, we've got to talk about it. You're the eternal MMA featherweight champion. You came here for a grappling match at Hex Fight Series. There's clearly a loophole in the contract. Are you in trouble with Eternal at all?
Not that I know of, but, you know, tonight all we can say is I made my professional grappling debut. Everyone knows my stature. Everyone knows my place in the MMA world. And, you know, I'm just a guy that fights, right? So I'm going to do whatever I can to keep fighting and keep fighting the best people. So, yeah, the location, the date, the time, all that shit doesn't matter, man. We can do it in the car park. I'm still going to fight. I can fight in front of 20 million people or one person. I don't care. I'm just here to scrap with the best people because I'm the best featherweight in the country.
Now, mate, you talked about being done regionally with mixed martial arts in Australia. Is that true? Is the next level upon us?
Look, that's what we're sort of pushing for. It's what we're working for. But you know me. Like I've said from the start, I can only sit still for so long before I get itchy and I want to fight. And especially after tonight, being in there, feeling that atmosphere and everything like that. So, you know, if things get a bit too, I guess, complacent for me with sitting around, then yeah, I'll probably want to step in there as soon as possible. So we'll just see what happens. You know, there's a couple of featherweights fighting tonight, so I'll be watching.
And we did flirt with the idea of perhaps, I mean, Quillan Southkill wants to come back October 30. I mean, would you ever go lightweight?
I'd be hard pressed to sort of pass up an opportunity to go for a second belt. I really like Quinlan. He's got great skills. There's no sort of animosity there. It's not something that I have to be like, oh, I don't like this guy. I mean, he knocked out my mate Blake, so I've got to get him back now. But I'd like it, man, if that's an opportunity that comes up. If it's something that had to happen, if it's timed out, but you never know with these things, man. He might go out there and chin this bloke on road to UFC and be off to the races. So then I might have to fight Jack Becker for a vacant belt, or Dave Martinez, or whoever's healthy and ready to go.
Now, mate, before I let you go, will you get out of here without a skirmish backstage?
We can only hope. We can only hope. We can only hope. We'll try. We'll try.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Abdalla Biayda calls him, Justin Van Villen, Justin Van Heerden, the Eternal MMA featherweight champion, and the man that pulled off a draw against UFC veteran George Soteropoulos. Thanks, mate.